Hi Dragons, welcome to Fraction and Decimal Computation Chapter Review. I'm going to go over a few things with you to help you get started on this review sheet. Have your pencils, paper, pens, whichever writing utensils you can work with ready. We're going to start right in on number 1, which is fraction division again. How many 2/5 ounce servings are in 3 4/7 ounces? It would be best as we go through this video for you to pause and attempt the problems independently first. This is your review so that you will have success on the semester exam. After you have attempted the problem, then unpause the video and watch the solution. Here we go. This problem is asking me to take 3 4/7 and divide it by 2/5. From what I know about fractions, I cannot do this in its standard form. I'm going to want to change this mixed number to an improper fraction. To do that, I need to do 3 times 7 plus 4 and put it over the denominator of 7. So 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 is 25, which is going to make this become 25/7. Bringing this one all the way down because this one is in a perfectly standard format, 2/5. 25/7 divided by 2/5. Now, in our practice of fraction division, the most efficient method was to divide across using common denominators. Right now I have alternate denominators, so I do need to get like denominators. When you look at 7 and 5, you might automatically feel like you see a fact family. That's good. 7 and 5, I see 35. So off to the side here, I'm going to do some conversions. I'm going to make equivalent fractions. I'm going to change 25/7 into something over 35. And I'm going to change 2/5 into something over 35. You might recall in ratios that we called the multiplicative relationship between the swoopy swoop. Not a very mathy term, but we're going to use it. 7 times what gets you 35? Times 5. What you do to the top, you do to the bottom in order to be consistent with the identity property. 25 times 5 is 125. So 25/7 is equivalent to 125/35. We're going to repeat the process for the next fraction. Okay. We have two new equivalent fractions that result with common denominators. This is good. So I'm going to rewrite 125/35 is now being divided by 14/35. With the common denominators in place, I can divide straight across. 125 divided by 14, 35 divided by 35. Ultimately, I get 125/14 I really need to simplify this. This is not working in its current format. We're going to see how many times 14 can fit into 125. I've tested this one before, so I know it's either 8 or 9. I believe it is 8. We're going to try that out. 8 times 14. 8 times 4 is 32. Put down the 2, carry the 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 112. Yep, that looks very familiar. Now, I could do decimal, but really we're working with fractions, so we're going to want to keep it with fractions. Plus, if you look at your multiple choice options, they are also in fractional form. So, we have 8 and 13 of the 14 parts is how we write the remainder. We're going to bring that back over here. So right now you really have 8 and 13/14/1. If it's over 1, we can simplify it to just 8 and 13/14. Happy, happy, happy answer. Luckily for us, that answer is here. Yay. Excellent. Next, 1 1/5 divided by 3/4. Pause the video, see if you can attempt this problem independently first. One 1/5 divided by 3/4 needs a few conversions happening. We don't want to keep the mixed number. We want to change it to an improper fraction. We're going to do that by doing 1 times 5 plus 1 and keeping it over 5. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 1 is 6, so it's 6/5 divided by 3/4. We also need common denominators. When you see 5 and 4, you might be thinking 20, which is great. 5 times 4 we get you 20. 6 times 4 we get you 24. 4 times 5 will get you 20. 3 times 5 will get you 15. So now I've made equivalent fractions. 24/20 divided by 15/20. I'm going to go ahead and divide straight across. I'm going to get 24 divided by 15 over 20 divided by 20. 24/15 over 1 needs to be simplified. So I'm going to check how many times can 15 fit into 24. 1 time with how much of a remainder? 9 over 15, which could be simplified again because 9/15 share a common factor. Their greatest common factor is 3. So if I do 9 divided by 3, I get 3. If I do 15 divided by 3, I get 5. So ultimately, I will get 1 3/5 over 1, which is the same as 1 3/5. Very good. Let's see if that's on the answer options. It is. Yay! So far, so good. Next, we need to investigate which of the following is equivalent to the problem 35 times 28 and 14/100. This is a property that we worked on earlier. See if you can remember which property that they're looking for here. If you said the distributive property, you are correct. We need to decompose 28 and 14/100, yet still multiply it by 35. Here, they decompose 35 and then just add it to the other component. That option doesn't work. Here, they do decompose 28 and 14/100, but then they add it to 35 and forget to multiply it. So we have to look at our last two options. Are we going to multiply during our decomposition, or are we going to add during our decomposition? We are going to add, and then that inside the parentheses is multiplied to the 35 outside the parentheses. That is the most logical solution. Number 4, which of the following will result in an even number? Now, we haven't talked a lot about even and odd, and this is a primary school skill, but I can give you some clues to help you problem solve through this. I do know when I add two even numbers, I'm going to get an even number. When I add two odd numbers, I also get an even number. That's because the odd one on this pairs up with the odd one on that. So if I put those two together, it's even. So all of this was even, except this guy was left over, and he's odd, which makes the entire result odd. Let's try that again with C. 10, 12, and 14 all come together to be even. 11 and 13 pair together to be an even number, leaving out 15, who is odd, which makes the entire sum odd. Now, B and D were a little more of a struggle for me. I did not have any tricks or shortcuts that I knew to solve these quickly. I did try to think of some divisibility rules, and I knew, well, if anything multiplies by 5, it's going to end in either a 0 or a 5. And I saw there was the factor 5. But when I got down here, I saw there was a factor 5 here, too, which means it's either going to end in a 0 or 5. So when I got to this point, I was personally stuck and knew that I was actually going to have to work out the problems and find out which one ended with an even number. This didn't end up taking me that long when I made the attempt. I'll show you how to quickly run through testing these. So I'm going to work out B. I'm on number 4. I'm on B. See, 5 times 6 gets me 30. And then I'm going to do 30 times 7, which gets me 210. Then I'm going to do that times 8, which is 0, 8, 16. And then I'm going to do that result by 9, which gets me 0, let's see, 2, 7. I could really stop because I already see what it ends in, but I'm going to go ahead and finish. Let's see, 54 plus 7 should be 61. No, let's see, 15. Okay, so that currently ends in a 0, which makes it even. Just to be sure, I'm going to test out D. So I'm going to start off with 3 times 5. I'm going to get 15. I'm going to multiply 15 by 7. I'm going to put down 5, carry it to 3. I got 105. Then I'm going to multiply that by 9, which is 5, 4, 4, 9. Then I'm going to multiply that by 11. I can see already that this ends in an odd number right here, so the answer cannot be D. It has to be B. So when in doubt, if you don't have any tricks up your sleeve, it's okay. You can just work them out. And for the semester test, you have enough time to work them all out. If you need to test it, it's fine. Take your time and do your best. All right, next one. Which of the following numbers is divisible by both 3 and 9? 15 is divisible by 3, but not 9. 89. Let's see. 3 can't go into that evenly, can it? Can 9 go into that evenly? Doesn't feel like it. 102. Not sure. So I'm going to put 3 into 102 and see what I get. Okay, so 3 works. Let's see if 9 works. Uh-oh, I feel a decimal coming on. We don't want a decimal. Nope, 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 nope. So it is not divisible by 9. So by default, your answer should be 234. Since you do have time to spare, you can go ahead and test it. Divisible by 3, divisible by 9. Perfection. Very, very good. Now we have reached the area where it is decimal computation. We've got addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I'd like to remind you that add and subtract decimals stack. So we're going to line up our decimals when we do this addition. So go ahead, pause the video, and I think it's fair for you to go ahead to try all the addition problems because you are all very strong at addition. Just remember to keep your place values in line. Line up all your decimal points. After you get through the addition, replay the video and see if you got the correct solution. All right? So go ahead, press pause, work on the addition problems. Get that practice in. Resuming with the solution for number 6. If you'd like to add placeholders, that's fine. If that makes it more comfortable for you, you can. 8 and 0 is 0. 3 and 0 is 3. And down your decimal point, straight down. 579 and 438 thousandths. Just to make sure I didn't make any calculation errors, I'm going to pull out Mr. Calculator here. We're going to add 35 and 938 plus 543.5. Yep, perfection. Let's try the next one. A lot more terms on this one. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 add-ins on this particular computation. And after this one, we're going to pause the video session and call this only part 1 of the video series. Put some placeholders here. I put a decimal here to make sure I put 50 in the correct spot. So notice that 96.3 went here, lined up with 2.576 here, 154.2 here, put some placeholders for you, and 50 is over here with the other whole numbers. Be very careful. Go ahead and drop down your decimal point right away. 0600 result in 6, 0700 result in 7, 352, that looks like 10. Carry that. Let's see, 6 and 4 make 10. 2, 3, 13. Let's try that. 5 and 5 is 10, plus another 10 is 20. 303 and 76 thousandths. That is an option. Loving it. Going to double check on the calculator. 96.3 plus 0.576 plus 154.2 plus 50. We got it. All right, I'm going to leave that up there for a second for you to see how I lined up all the decimal add-ins on number 7. Most people make a mistake with 50 and they stick them way over here, but he lives over here, so be careful with that. Okay, so I'm going to stop here at number 7, and then I'll tape part 2 and alternate time. Thank you.